And speaking of getting, I'm gonna get into some. So we got through a lot of the serious questions. Now I'm gonna get into what everybody came for: the grime and the dirt. So first of all, TT, if you will, what is the worst movie that you would say you've ever seen? Because I know which ones are mine, because you liked most of them.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I'm on podcasts all the time, and I do all this writing, and I talk about film, and I I actively avoid the idea of thinking about the worst film I've ever seen. So whenever people ask, I'm always like, I have no idea. Because again, if it's that bad and I didn't like it, then I try to purge it from my brain as quickly as
Yo,
possible.
I know you do, because we had a
Yeah.
conversation about that Will Smith, Jaden Smith movie After Earth. And when I told you, I'll never forget, we were sitting around, I said, for that movie to only be 90 minutes, and you were like, it was only 90 minutes? Like, I have never seen you become, that was the most stereotypically black angry I've ever seen you be. It was like, man, who brought Ving Rhames into the conversation? Just
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, I guess that would be one of those films that if I had to, I would think about it that way. But yeah, I don't. Like I said, I try to not think about it in that way, because for me, film is one of those situations where even at its worst, there's as you're watching it, like I've only walked out of one film without having seen it completely
what was that?
over the course of my career. Um, Yeah, it's a weird story, and I can't even remember the full name of this movie. It was one of those TBS Civil War
Oh,
things that they
okay.
actually released in theaters, and it happened
Okay.
while I was here as a critic, and it was at that theater in Norwood that is no longer there. I was covering this, and they were doing it was again, since it was like a TV movie for TNT or TBS or whatever. It was really like a 4-hour thing that was like for TV. They broke it up into pieces. But for the screening that we got, they gave it to us all in one big chunk. So it started in the afternoon, late afternoon, and was, had a whole block for it. We get to the screening, and you weren't there. I can't
No,
remember this.
I
This
was
might have been
not.
before. This was before you were a critic, maybe. But the funny thing was, I get about 2 hours into that, and the projector breaks, or like the film breaks. So they had to stop it and try to fix it. And what started out as like, oh, it'll only take us like 10 or 15 minutes, became a half hour, became 45 minutes. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I got like more than 2 hours of this thing to go. And I've already lost time, and I was hating it. So I remember looking up, and there was another critic from CityBeat, because that was at a time when CityBeat still had a bunch of critics who
Right,
would,
right.
like, there were like 3 or 4 of us who would cover film. And there's another guy who was there who was a critic, and I remember going over to him because I was supposed to be the one covering this. And I was like, dude, like, I can't do this. I can't take it anymore. Like, this film is bad. And then now we're stuck here. And he knew he was gonna have to stay through the whole thing. So we were
Right.
talking about it. I was like, dude, like, can you cover this for me? Like, if I have to pay you to do it, it'd be fine, because it would be worth not having to sit through the rest of this.
Right.